Again, everybody, we are continuing to follow some breaking news right here on NewsNOW from Fox this morning, taking a live look at the Supreme Court. The one that everybody seems to be talking about is that the Supreme Court has decided to uphold Obamacare. I do have a little bit more information I'm going to provide to you here on NewsNOW Fox. Again, the Supreme Court has dismissed a challenge to the Obama-era healthcare law preserving insurance coverage for millions of Americans. The justices, by a 7-2 vote, left the entire law intact today in a ruling that Texas, other Republican-led states, and 2 individuals had no right to bring their lawsuit to federal court. The law's major provisions include protections for people with pre-existing health conditions, a range of no-cost preventative services, and the expansion of the Medicaid program that insures lower-income people, including those who work in jobs that don't pay much or provide health insurance. Also left in place is the law's now toothless requirement that people have health insurance or pay a penalty. Congress rendered that provision irrelevant in 2017 when it reduced the penalty to 0. The elimination of the penalty had become the hook that Texas and other Republican-led states, as well as the Trump administration, used to attack the entire law. They argued that without the mandate, a pillar of the law when it was passed in 2010, the rest of the law should fall too. And with a more conservative Supreme Court that includes 3 Trump appointees, opponents of Obamacare hoped a majority of the justices would finally kill off the law they have been fighting against for more than a decade. But the third major attack on the law at the Supreme Court ended the way the first 2 did, with the majority of the court rebuffing efforts to gut the law or get rid of it altogether. Trump's 3 appointees to the Supreme Court, Justices Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh, split their votes. Kavanaugh and Barrett joined the majority. Gorsuch was in dissent, signing on to an opinion from Justice Samuel Alito. Justice Stephen Breyer wrote for the court that the states and people who filed a federal lawsuit, quote, have failed to show that they have standing to attack as unconstitutional the Act's minimum essential coverage provision, end quote. In dissent, Alito wrote, continuing on to say, quote, today's decision is the 3rd installment in our epic Affordable Care Act trilogy, and it follows the same pattern as installments 1 and 2. In all 3 episodes, with the Affordable Care Act facing a serious threat, the court has pulled off an improbable rescue, end quote. Alito was a dissenter in the 2 earlier cases as well. Republicans pressed their argument to invalidate the whole law, even though congressional efforts to rip out the entire law, quote unquote, root and branch, in Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell's words, have failed. The closest they came was in July 2017 when Arizona Senator John McCain, who died the following year, delivered a dramatic thumbs down vote to a repeal effort by fellow Republicans. The court's decision preserves benefits that became part of the fabric of the nation's healthcare system, even as Republicans repeatedly tried to rip out Obamacare. In McConnell's words, again, root and branch. Polls show that the 2010 healthcare law grew in popularity as it endured the heaviest assault. In December 2016, just before Obama left office and Trump swept in, calling the ACA a quote-unquote disaster, 46% of Americans had an unfavorable view of the law, while 43% approved, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation tracking poll. Those ratings, however, flipped, and by February of this year, 54% had a favorable view, while disapproval had fallen to 39% in the same ongoing poll. The health law is now undergoing an expansion under President Joe Biden, who sees it as the foundation for moving the U.S. to coverage for all. His giant COVID-19 relief bill significantly increased subsidies for private health plans offered through the ACA's insurance markets, while also dangling higher federal payments before the dozen states that have declined the law's Medicaid expansion. About 1 million people have signed up with healthcare.gov since Biden reopened enrollment amid high levels of COVID cases earlier this year. But again, to reiterate, the challenge to Obamacare has been dismissed by the Supreme Court. That means the Supreme Court is upholding the Affordable Care Act in its entirety in a 7-2 ruling.